Sploosh! I got to turn the girlfriend's phone off. She's got. You don't need to know that. We can have a bit more tit. Whoa, that doesn't need to be live. I think I've successfully already pinned. So we are live with Varts already, which is wonderful. Didn't have time to comb the old barnet there. Get rid of that stray one. All right there. Lovely, lovely people. That shirt doesn't look right, does it? Have I done the old... Hang on, let's try this one. 1, 2. No, we're all right. Maybe it's just I've got the old shoulder higher thing going on. The shoulder higher thing. Right, quickly, before all the oi polloi turn up, let's get some LOs in. This is just a chill stream. I don't know if anyone reads my descriptions, but the missus rules the House of Dangerfield with an iron fist. And when she walks through that door, this stream stops because I've had nothing but a few jackfruit today. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you can get jackfruit in England, get yourself some. They're fucking lovely. But make sure they're sunshine yellow. If they're slightly sort of, you know, a little bit more whitey than... Hello, whitey. Strike. They've got to be ripe, but not too ripe because then they go mushy. But I tell you what, very, very good nutritional index. Nutritional index. My 18-year-old self just looked at me and went, wanker. But I've only had jackfruit today. So the minute she... that's incredible that you said that. What, the Splendid executive lunch? The reason that spooked me, Jim, is because the thumbnail, I called it sell, because when I saved it, I just put sell, and so I thought, I suppose they can. I suppose that they've got computer skills where people can find out the name of the thumbnail file. Who knows? Anyway, before the oi polloi turn up, let's get the riff-raff LO'd. Hello, Jim. Hello, Steve. Steve the Tooth. Oh, it'll probably be over in an hour. She's having a waxing done. I mean, it's gross, but it's wonderful. My part of it's wonderful. Why? People with reading, I've never had to deal with this so much before. These do seem to get a lot of smudging on them. I can't be doing with this. But anyway, so I've only had a couple of jackfruit today. And the minute she walks in the door, I'll be cooking a steak. She'll be making up a salad. And we'll be having steak and salad. And I'll tell you what I did the other day. I've never done it before, but I bought some of those partially baked French sticks. I know to get to 49, it's nearly 50. It's nearer 50 than it is 49, let's be honest. But I bought some of those partially baked French sticks. Oh, I will be stocking up on them. I can assure you of that. They're excellent. They're superb. Because they keep for like about 2 months or something. And when you're ready to go, you just pop them in the oven. 10 minutes, you've got hot, crispy, fresh-ish French sticks. I got some lovely French cheese. And I had some olives and cheese and fresh French sticks. They're excellent. Steve, we want an update on the tooth, my friend. Hello, John. Nice to see you, my peculiar friend. Who else we got in here before the riff-raff turn up? Hello, Deadbeat Chess. 8 p.m. or now. Did I get the timing wrong? I don't know what's happening. Hello, Liam. Good to see you, son. On the lurk, you'll be all right. Not a problem. Not a problem. Hello, Flammer. Danger's just been on rap. I went on there to have a word with that blatant alcoholic. And the thing was, I mean, talk about, this is why alcoholics are so annoying. At least, I mean, he just didn't stop talking over everyone. And I thought, why hasn't anyone mentioned that this bloke is shit-faced, barely, incomprehensible? with his can of 500ml, half a litre of Stella. And I thought I'd call him on it. And then I just said to him, he said, so what are you saying? I said, well, I'm just a little bit concerned. I think you've probably got a serious problem and it would be a shame if you drunk yourself to death. And then someone else in Ratpool's chat said, yeah, and it ain't a pleasant way to go. And it isn't. An alcoholic death is one of the worst. And then a woman in there said, my mother died of alcoholism, left me on my own when I was 15. And she went to him, have you got kids? And he went, who the fuck are you having a pop at me? I went, if you think me having a pop at you is being concerned that it looks like you're likely to drink yourself to death, well, you don't know what a pop is. But then I looked at the time and all I got to say to Rackpool, because he went for a lash while I mentioned the slight chance that the man was an alcoholic. He's got like 2 teeth and I've been watching the Rackpool stream while I was working for about an hour and he has not stopped talking. The other people are chatting around him and he's just there going, and you know what? It was funny for about 5 minutes. And then I just sort of started looking at him thinking, you know, and I've said this before in, you know, countless times how, now don't get me wrong, I know that Dr. Rackpool's people aren't in any way political. I know, you know, they're not. And that's their choice. But alcohol is given such a pass in society. You know, if there was someone on there, like doing lines or fucking popping pills or shooting up or even booting some gear, it would be everyone that would dominate the conversation. You got to stop that, you got to stop that, what you're doing, you know, but no one mentioned it. And I was thinking, isn't it weird? You know, he's poisoning himself on a daily basis, laughing about it, making jokes. And look, I know an alcoholic, without a doubt he was an alcoholic. His face had that horrible kind of grey, bloodless. And it just made me feel really sad. And then at some point he went, hey, I'm fucking 36. I do what I want. And it's incredible. You know, and this is marketing. This is all marketing. This is what the big, I mean, we talk about big pharma, you know, we talk about the corporations. Have you ever heard anyone talk about big alcohol? I haven't. You know, I haven't mentioned it, but it's a thing. You know, these are huge corporations. We've talked about big tobacco. You know, we all know that that's like, isn't it like 2 companies own everything, all the tobacco in the world or something ridiculous. And, you know, it gets such a pass. Now, I know, like I say, I know that's not a political stream, but I've been on nationalist streams, populist streams, right-wing streams, conservative streams, all, you know, anything, all that lot, right? And people, you know, joking about, you know, fucking hell, last night you should have seen me. I was fucking puking up on the way home. I had my head in the toilet for 4 hours, and everyone else is like, ha, 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 ha. And then I get called a degenerate. And it's like, well, you know, I'm not saying I haven't been, but you're talking about last night. It gets such a pass, and it has done such incredible damage to Europe and all nations of European descent, America, Canada, Australia, you know, drinking culture. I would suggest that every single person in the chat knows at least, I don't know, 5 alcoholics. Now, they may be functioning. They may well be functioning alcoholics. But I would guess that everyone in the chat knows at least 5, even if they don't know that they're alcoholics. And, you know, and it really affects women as well. There's a lot of, I know so many women. That's the end of that statement. I know so many women, you know. I know so many women who aren't in relationships. They go to work, they finish work, they sit down, I'll have a glass of wine, you know, have a glass of wine. Nothing wrong with a glass of wine. That's all right. I think that's all right. But then you notice that when I was a kid, a wine glass was a tiny little thing. It was about that tall and about that wide. I know that don't make a lot of sense. And usually as you get older, things appear small, things appear to have got smaller because you've got bigger. But wine glasses now, they're like that, aren't they? How many glasses do you get out? How many of those wine glasses do you get out of a bottle? 3 or 4? So now, and that is intentional. That will have been intended. It was like what I told you about Colgate. It's in the Hidden Persuaders. I hope that ain't my missus. This is going to be the quickest stream you've ever seen. In the Hidden Persuaders, the bloke that marketed Colgate, he said to them, I'll improve your sales by 10%. And they went, all right then. So he'd done all his research, and it turns out people use toothpaste not based on how much toothpaste they're going to use, but how long on the brush it goes. So some people will put a third of the brush length. Some people will put half on the brush, the length of the brush. Some people will put the full length of the brush. So it's not about an amount, it's about length on the brush. On, the tendency, the general tendency, so like 80, 90%. So what he done was he opened the bit of the tube, what would you call it? The aperture by 10%. So people still went a third of the brush, a quarter of the brush, half the brush, the whole of the brush. But because the aperture was 10% wider, 10% more toothpaste come out, sales went up 10%. And I would bet everything I've got on the fact that the big, what am I going to call them? Big booze. I'm going to call it big booze. I would put everything I've got that big booze had a part to play in the resizing of wine glasses over the last 30 odd years. Because in the old days, you'd probably get 6 or 7 glasses out of a bottle of wine. Now, of course, I'm talking tendencies. Someone could say, well, hang on a minute. I was in Magaluf in 92 and you'd get the wine glass was like the bottle. You could, you'd put 2 bottles of wine in it and drink it like that. Okay. But so in our culture, 2 or 3 glasses of wine of an evening, no dramas. But now 2 or 3 glasses of wine of an evening is nearly a whole bottle. So you're doing a bottle of wine a night. Now, if that's your baseline, and again, I know countless women that do this. When I talk to them in the evening, I'll give them a call, whatever. They're like, well, I'm on my second glass, and it's like a Tuesday, and okay, it's a choice. This is all a choice. I'm not saying you can't make that choice, but all those individual choices general choices make up the culture of a people. And if that's your baseline, that 1 bottle, so what happens when you're commiserating? You split up with your boyfriend, or you get a demotion, or you don't get promoted, or something bad happens, and you want to drink. Well, then you're already on 1 bottle, so you're going to drink on top of that. So that's 2 bottles. What about if you want to celebrate? What about if something good's happened? What about if you got a rise, if you did get promoted, or you got back together with your boyfriend or whatever? Well, then that's 2 bottles, because 1 bottle's your baseline. That's not anything out of the ordinary. So you're doubling that up. And again, I could tell, I won't give you their names because that's unfair, but I could tell you off the top of my head without thinking about it, because I've got them here now. 5 or 6 mates who died before they got to 45 just from boozing. And no one called them alcoholic deaths. No one said he was an alcoholic. He killed himself through drink. They all slowly went yellow. They all turned yellow. One of them had varices. I think it's called varices, something like that, where it looks like they're puking strawberry jam. The organs just give up. They're all dead. They're actually dead. These are mothers' children. These are people's friends. They've got kids. 3 of the people I'm thinking of had kids. And it while it was going on, it wasn't called out. It might have been called out in the privacy of the home. You can imagine the missus occasionally saying, do you have to be drunk all the time? The effect that'll have on the kids is an absolute disaster for the next generation. And it just gets a pass. There was nothing said at those funerals or afterwards. Well, he was an alcoholic, wasn't he? He was a drug addict. because that's what alcoholism is. It's weird, isn't it? How alcoholism, there's nothing. If you're a benzo addict, you're a drug addict. If you're a cocaine addict, you're a drug addict. If you're a heroin addict, you're a drug addict. If you're a crack addict, you're a drug addict. If you're an alcohol addict, you're an alcoholic. And it's kind of separated. And even in like rehab centers and even in like literature, medical literature, it will frequently say, you know, these can be the social, economic and whatever effects of drug abuse and alcohol. And even using that language repeatedly keeps it separate intentionally. And I will guarantee, as much as one can guarantee when it's pure conjecture, that there's people in boardrooms somewhere keeping those distinctions, keeping those, you know, somehow maintaining those distinctions because it's good for big booze. It really is. Nice to see 70 people here on the Splendid. I couldn't even say it. I read Telford Teach and I said Splendid. Hello, Daffy. Nice to see you. What's the name? Garland, Pax, Max, and Snoopy. That was just a quick 5. That was Magic 5, I like to call it. Rags is on the firm. Pizzle's here. Marzipan. I heard you talking about me yesterday, Marzipan, on Rags' stream. It was funny, that stream. What was it? 15, 20 minutes of what do you call it? Technological problems, shall we say? Marzipan's boat race. He was just going. It did make me laugh, but lovely to hear some very kind words said about me in the actual stream and in the chat. So that's always nice. I got a little bit a bit shy off at some of it, to be honest with you. All right, yeah, there you go, Lulu. That's why I do it. Nice to see you, Lulu. Hello, Ged Carter. Emma G's on the firm. Tej, Sumpster. Yeah, there you go. British culture. Brits abroad. How many times? I mean, I must have seen growing up, 10, 20 documentaries, Brits abroad. And it's like, okay, that it's just drunk porn, essentially. Oh, look at these English people pulling their trousers down and puking up in restaurants. Yeah, a social path. It's shocking, isn't it? Yeah, the critical drinker. I mean, it's an act. He's got a very successful channel that takes a hell of a lot of work. I think he's just a drink. He likes to have a drink occasionally. And I mean, you can keep it going until you're about 35 and then it starts showing, you know. I think he just likes a whiskey occasionally or something. But who knows? It might come out a bit later, and I feel like I'm digging into the critical drinker here, and I actually like his channel and him. I don't know anything about his social life. I think, like you said, it's an act, or not an act, more of a persona. Yes, Andrew, the absolutely hypocritical double standards. It's and I think without a doubt, and the numbers are in on this, it does the most damage. You know, most domestic violence, most violence, you know, car driving incidents. You know, I know enough old Bill, and they say to me that most of their work is dealing with the effects of alcohol. That's most of a copper's work in the inner cities. You know, they're dealing with the effects of alcohol. Pizzle says big alcohol is party 7. For those of you who don't know, and I know the average age here is about 43, so most of you do know, but a party 7 was this old, it was like, if I remember rightly, was it plastic or tin? It was like a barrel shaped Let's say and search. Shall we do that? Party 7. I can remember people bringing them to like street parties and barbecues. There it is. There it is. Good Lord, they go back a while as well. They've got some really old ones here. This looks like a shit. Well, hang on, people. I won't keep these to myself, but that looks like a very modern design. So they're still going. Pizzle, what's the 7? Is that pints or litres or whatever? Yeah, people. I'll just grab 2 of them because they go back a while. Good Lord. I never knew that. I thought they went back to the 70s, but by the look of these, they went back to about the 1870s. So here you go. Have a look at this. Party 7. I'll show you the newer one first. Same company making them as well. People, we'd have like a street party or a barbecue at our house or whoever's house. Candy and Mix, Barbara and Graham's, Pauline and Joe, Pauline and Alan. And a couple of people would rack up with one of these. Have a look at this. Look at the Party 7 on that. That's a Party 7. That's a pale ale. See that little red thing at the bottom? You open that up and there's like a little spout comes out. So you've the idea being you've got like a barrel of beer. But what you're not getting from that is the scale. That thing is about, a Party 7 is actually about that big. And you just put it on the table and get the spout out, and then you can go up to it and sort of and pour yourself a drink. It's like you've got a bar. And John Francis says, don't ever speak about beer that way again. Sorry, John. I will though. I will though. But look at this. Look at this other Party 7 I found. Look at that. They've been going a while. I mean, this looks like a can of beans. Have a look at that one. Same company. Look at that. Party 7. Look at the picture on it. Look, hang on. Let's see if we can get on that picture. Having a right old laugh. Look, hey, and on the Party 7. That's 70s, though, isn't it? Look at the flares. Look at the outfits. Oh, look at her, though. Hello, darling. That's Lynn from George and Lynn. The old guitars out there. Look at them having a bit of a do. Look, this geezer's got some CDs. Hang on a minute. Compact. There's Peter Winograde from the Rape Song. Look at his fucking tie. Look at that. Whoa. Since we're zooming in, let's have another look at Lynn. Hello, darling. Are you all right? Pins. Look at the whips on this one with no bum. I mean, how can you turn that? Oh, hang on a minute. We need to look at Jesus over here. How can you turn that down? She's all right, though. Proper salt there. They're having a right laugh with their Party 7. I mean, how can you turn it down? But the CDs are somewhat troubling. I'm getting a sense there's been some kind... it would appear that 1 in every 1,000 cans of Watney's Party 7 contains some kind of time-traveling device. That ain't on. That is not on. Right. Yeah. It's Sump's always been a drinking lightweight. Emma doesn't know 5 people. Well, it's weird. The reason I've managed to rack up quite a lot of people and I've maintained contact with them because Rochester Art College, I still talk to about 10 people from Rochester. Well, Rochester and Chatham. It was really Chatham, but they call it Rochester. Well, actually, they called it Kent, but it was Chatham, which is a shithole. Sorry, any Medwayans, Medvivians. Then I went to Maidstone Art College. Then I went to Dartington Art College. Then I went to Leeds University. So there's 4 places of higher education. Then I worked in the pop promo industry in Soho and lived in Soho and was a stand-up comic for 10 years. So I've been quite socially kind of awkward. I've been lucky socially in many ways, and I've kept hold of a lot of those contacts. Look at that. Hello, mate. Zen Maverick. Look, lost over 20 friends. That's not a small amount of people. That's 20 friends. Fuck me. Yeah, there you go, Snoopy. I absolutely agree with you. But Snoopy, I mean absolutely. If you can use crack in moderation, go for it. If you can use heroin in moderation, go for it. I don't care. But once it starts controlling you, you're in trouble. Yeah, yeah. But I'm an absolutist with that. You know. Matthew says very scary in the morning time. A lot of alcoholics I used to know, they're all dead now. They used to set their alarms at night for every 3 hours, and they'd have a bottle of vodka or whatever. Usually vodka. Most alkies end up on vodka. It's strange. Well, the ones I know. And every 3 hours, their alarm would go off, and they'd wake up. They'd fill a tumbler with vodka, knock it back, and then go back to sleep. And the reason they'd set their alarm was because if they didn't, they'd stay asleep and they'd wake up withdrawing. It comes on pretty quickly, alcohol withdrawal. So they didn't want that. So they'd have this every 3 hours, wake up and keep one in. And then in the morning, most of them puke. And then like Bukowski done it. He outlined it many times. My mate Andrew, dead. He died in his 60s. He used to drink 2 bottles of famous grouse a day. And he said he'd wake up, pour a pint of famous grouse. It's a whiskey. And then he'd sip an inch off the top. That would make him puke. And once he'd got that out of his system, he'd knock the rest of that pint of whiskey back, go back to sleep, wake up around 2 in the afternoon, pour a pint, drink an inch off the top, empty his stomach, and then finish the pint. And then the rest of the day it would just be like wine and the occasional beer. I was very, very surprised when I started my rehab career. I was very surprised what I found out about alcoholism, the actual depths of it. I had a mate who used to have to carry 4 or 5 pairs of pants with him wherever he went. Literally 4 or 5 pairs of boxer shorts, and I'm doing that because he'd have them in the inside pocket of his coat. And of course, one day I said to him, "Why do you carry 5 pairs of pants around with you?" And he went, "Because I shit myself all day long." Okay. And then I'll tell you what, there's a lovely bit. A couple of people on here have been talking about novels to recommend, and it's hard recommending novels because it's so subjective. But there's a beautiful novel from a Polak American writer called Nelson Algren, who weirdly had an affair with what's his name? The French existentialist. Oh, that can't slip my mind. I can remember her name. The wife's name is Simone de Beauvoir. But Nelson Algren had an affair with her. They published the letters. They're rather charming, actually. But Nelson Algren wrote a book called The Man with the Golden Arm. Hollywood made a movie about it with old Blue Eyes playing the main character. But they changed the ending. I won't spoil it, but they changed the ending. And no, you don't get... That's like changing the ending of Jaws, where the shark wins. But The Man with the Golden Arm by Nelson Algren, there's this beautiful passage in it. Let me see if I can find it. It's a bit of a long shot, this, but if I can find that passage. If I can find a PDF, I might be able to do a... no, I thought that was going to be unlikely. There might be some quotes. There's an incredible bit in it where it's all about alcohol and boozers and the people right down at the bottom of society. And let me just see if I can find it here. No, it's not on Goodreads. Basically, he talks about this big poster advertising this drink. I can't remember what it is. It's a beer of some sort. And he says, you know, they're at the beach and they're like these bronzed, suntanned, sort of happy people with good hair and clear skin, and they're sort of throwing balls around, and there's kids playing, and you know, it's a beautiful ocean, and there's a little palm tree, and he in words better than I can improvise now, he explains, you know, this sort of, it's almost like the Jehovah's Witness Watchtower magazine in terms of its just paradise on heaven on earth, and then he says, because at the bottom of this big sort of billboard is all the street hobos and alcoholics, and there's a great line. It's something like, and when your eyes have finished scanning the poster, you get to see the poor bastards who actually have to drink the stuff. It's fucking brilliant because he takes you on the journey of his eyes through the poster. And then underneath this billboard, there's just people flat out on the pavement, like, you know, with fucking bits of food and God knows what in their dreadlock beards and, you know, arms missing and things. No, it's a superb novel, actually. I'll pop it in the chat. If you're getting into reading fiction, I'd check this out. Man with the Golden Arm, Nelson Algren. There you go. Have a look at that. Flammadiddler gave up drinking 10 years ago. I don't miss it at all. Well, when I was at art school, I was an absolute drinker. You know, like I'd do a bottle of scotch or a bottle of vodka with a mate, between two of us, before going to the boozer because it was just cheaper. You know, you could get a bottle of Morinov, no jokes, Morinov from Morrison's. That was their own brand vodka. And there was another one called Kirov we used to buy when we lived in the squat. Bottle of Kirov was like $5. It tasted like fucking windscreen wiper, windscreen cleaner. But I think when I got on the Skag, I just thought I don't want to be drinking on top of that. It ruins it. And weirdly, now if I go out, I don't think I've drunk more than 4 or 5 drinks on a night out, and that's quite rare. I'll usually go 1 or 2. I'm gone as well. I'm like, fuck, you know, especially if it's a cocktail out here, because they just go online. They list all their cocktails. They don't know what they are, and then you go, oh, I'll do us a Singapore Sling, and then you see them with the other barman with their phones out googling Singapore Sling, and then they're like, Cointreau, brandy. You're just going, and it comes over, and you're like, no one light a flame, no one light a match. But there you go. Colonel Custer's late brother was an alcoholic. Sorry to hear that, mate. Daffyd says, wine is now a factory product made from sugar water and the occasional bunch of grapes. It's kind of, you know, I know, I can see where you're going there. I mean, it's like all that stuff they've made. They've made booze for street drinkers. Didn't all those extras, those super strength, like your super teas? Oh, I was up till 6, by the way, writing 7 spastics. I was thinking I'll finish this tonight. Right, got to the end, thought, right, just give it a quick read through, doubled in size. So that won't be coming out for another few days, but it's really good. It's really good. If you're not signed up to my Substack and you want to get 7 spastics sent straight to your email, link in the description. It's very good. Oh, there you go, Daffyd. Is that, you know that, dear? Old measures was 5 glasses. Now it's 2 or 3 from a bottle of wine. So you can actually do a bottle of wine in 3 glasses. And 3 glasses of wine a day doesn't sound like much, does it? But if you're doing it daily, that's 7 bottles of wine a week. That makes you dependent. Chris Lawrence out of the Stranglers was a good friend of mine, passed recently to alcohol. It's insane, isn't it? It's insane. And it really, really, really gets a pass. I mean, I didn't mean to come on here and be a Danny Downer, but I just come off that stream with Rackpool and just thought, no one's mentioned that this bloke is killing himself. Poor bastard. Don't toothpaste recommend a pea-size amount for children under a certain age? Daffyd says, to get a true measure of hidden alcoholism, listen to the recycling. Every house sounds like a pub bin. There was a woman in my mother's street, right? We'll call her Sharon because that was her name. And that's a gag from Seven Spastics, by the way. Wrote it last night, chuckled at myself. We'll call him Paul because that's his name. That's how everyone in the street cottoned on to her. Because she was everyone's friend. She had an husband. She had a kid. Husband left. And then she just disappeared. She still lived there. You'd see the daughter go to school and that, but no one saw Sharon anymore. And then, of course, when the recycling bins come out, it's exactly what Daffyd said. It sounded like a boozer. You know, it was just a one of those big green boxes of empty spirit bottles every bloody week. Now, I haven't got a problem with people drinking alcohol. I drink alcohol. I have got an issue because it's sad when people kill themselves with the stuff. And again, it gets a pass, even at that level. Matt knew someone who turned yellow from taking ecstasy. Well, I'll tell you the worst one for urinary tract issues is ketamine. The amount of 22, 23-year-olds I've seen rock up at rehabs with colostomy bags. And you're like, oh, have you got Crohn's? They say, no, ketamine rots your urinary tract. And that's the end of that. There's nothing they can do. That's all they can do about it. Yes, Ian, absolutely. That's why they've always separated it. Yes, Numpty, alcohol is built into our culture. They, you know, like I said, even in nationalist streams, they won't have it. They won't have it. They go, nah, but alcohol's part of our culture. Well, yes. But when we used to drink like ale and mead, 2-3%, 2 to 3%. You know, it wasn't like what we drink today. And I had this argument with Morgoth once, where he made a video talking about his dad drinking whiskey. And I don't want to misquote him because it was a while back, but he was talking about how it was a way, if I remember rightly, and again, I probably will misquote him, but you know, it was a way of him tapping into his Scottish heritage and, you know, the mill, the places where it's all made and the grains all, you know, harvested. And I thought, that's just marketing. It's just marketing. It's poison. That stuff's poison. And it's been wormed into our culture. You know, most teenage men are not going to drink a 2 or 3% beer. They'll be laughed out the boozer. Absolutely laughed out the boozer. If you go in there and go, oh, have you got anything? Can you do me like a light? Have you got a light alcohol? It'll be like, fuck off. Nice one, Raymond. The one and only Griff today, it would appear. What a skill to be able to talk interestingly at length on almost any subject. What a gift. Kudos, Chris. That's very kind of you, Raymond, but I'm not sure any subject. The thing is, I've been lucky in as much that I've studied art and I've studied language. And as what's his name? I can't remember the geezer's name. What was the book called? Hal Foster, an American writer called Hal Foster, wrote a book called Recodings, in which he quoted Roland Barthes saying that if you study language, you're kind of at the crossroads of all other discourses. Disci, because all discourses use language. And so if your specialist area, I mean, if you ask me what my specialisms are in life, what I believe I've become to a certain extent an expert in, and everyone in the chat's probably got a certain level of expertise in something, people over 35 usually. Mine are art, language. I'd probably put storytelling. So, combine those three things and it kind of puts me in a good position to be able to do that. So yeah, just education really, but what a lovely thing to say. I mean, when you stream once or twice a day, every day, if you can't do that, you're in trouble. Well, when I say I'm in trouble, I mean you're all in trouble, because what else would I do? I'd come on and go. And I have seen streams like that. We've all seen them. And, a lot of streams, that's why they have guests on, or they'll have a subject. But, I know that I can gab away I've just talked for 43 minutes. Fuck me. Scares me sometimes, Raymond. Thank you very much. So nice one on the donation. It's really appreciated, Raymond. You've been very generous. Frequently, recurringly, and regularly lately. And what a lovely thing you just said as well. Pax Max, hello, mate. Ex-wife's mother and father, both functional alcoholics, all the way into and continuing into retirement, And then I'll hear people say, when I've talked to people and they've said, yeah, but you set your business up when you were a heroin addict. You set your business up. You were chain smoking joints and having a handful of benzos for breakfast. You still set a business up. You got a master's degree when you were 23. And then I'll be like, yeah, impressive, right? Imagine what I might have done if I wasn't using all those drugs. I might not be sitting here now at my age, wondering how I'm going to buy an house for me and the kids I am hoping to have. I might have already had kids if I hadn't lost myself to a life of, instant gratification and narcotic distraction. So they may well have done well in life, but they may well have done better. And even so, like someone commented on one of my Substacks, and they said, "What an interesting and varied life you've had, Chris." And my reply was, I knew what it was going to be because I've said it countless times. It was like, yeah, shame I wasn't there for most of it. I can remember what happened, but I didn't feel it. It didn't actually, I was absent. I was there, I was present physically, but I was absent on an emotional level. My first girlfriend was just a perfect woman, beautiful, caring, compassionate, honest. I knew she would never cheat on me. I just knew it. And I cheated on her. Fuck me. I'd give her the proper runaround. And I lost that relationship because of my drug use, because I was doing loads of speed and I didn't know who the fuck I was. I didn't know what I wanted. Why would I? Speed fucks you up. Now I still got a master's degree at 23. I think I was one of the youngest at Leeds University ever. Well done. But you lost your first love. You got together at 16, and I absolutely adored her as well. Took me 20 odd years to get over that. So while the picture might appear good on the surface of these people, there's a lot going on in the background. It's funny how we can put on quite a good presentation, but you know, these people that are drinking so much, you got to wonder what their actual bodily functions are like. What's going on what's going on behind closed doors? It can be quite grotesque. You know, I can remember my girlfriend. I apologise if you're eating, but I remember Gail having to shovel shit out of me using a spoon because I couldn't get it out. Now, on the surface, that looked fine. Oh, I'd got my 2 degrees. I was setting up a business. Couldn't go to the toilet, though. And when you can't actually get that out, it starts hurting. Yeah, sorry about that. But I think it's only fair to share my own, misdeeds in these situations because you can put on a front. Like the geezer with the 5 pairs of pants. No one knew that, but he did. He knew that every day of his life that was happening wherever he was. You know, you don't know. You might be talking to people out in the street or in a boozer, you know, just going to watch the football on a Saturday afternoon. The bloke next to you might be shitting himself. How are you, mate? He's like, yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, not bad. I'm just going to go to the toilet. And he tucks his trousers into his socks and hobbles off to the fucking toilet. I had a mate who had to go to the off license. It took him about 30 minutes to get there, even though it was only down the road. But he couldn't go the down the road route because he had to take a route that went past an alley or a similar place where if his body decided it was time to eject, he could sprint out of the way of people. The actual, as the crow flies to the off license, there was nowhere for him to run if it was to, you know, come on top all of a sudden. So he'd got a fucking map and he devised a route where he knew that every sort of 10 meters, if need be, he could sprint up somewhere or behind a shed or God knows what. And if you're doing that sort of thing just to get to the off license, how much else of your life are you having to plan around your secret habit that, you know, that is getting a pass in society? You know, I don't like comparing Cambodia to England because it's a bit like, oh, I'm in Cambodia, it's lovely. But what's lovely, there's loads of pedestrianised areas in Phnom Penh, loads of them. Like me and my missus can walk down the alley, walk up that road in about 3 minutes. Sorry, I'm getting work messages. And quite a lot of them too. It's all right. And we can be at this beautiful pedestrian area. There's all these lovely, what do you call them, memorial things and, you know, statues and what have you. And it's all beautifully marble paved. And we can go up there on a Friday or any night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, any night, 11, 12 o'clock. And there are no groups of people shit-faced. There's no one drunk. There's no one throwing things around. There's no one shouting at you. I have absolutely no fear that we're going to get mugged, attacked, or anything worse because they don't have that alcohol culture. You know, and if you were up there drunk doing that, I can't imagine. I just can't imagine it. You know, someone would probably you'd probably get taken home. A lot of people would probably just grab hold of you and throw you in a tuk-tuk and go, no, we don't do that out here. And that's a real privilege. It's a real pleasure to be able to go out walking at night with my girlfriend and not worry about groups of drunks. Whereas in, again, countries of European descent, that's all right. That's what we do. Terrifying. Shouting all. Booze killed my late wife. She was a binger, hidden bottles all over the house. So sorry to hear that. So sorry to hear that. And that binge drinking is a real hard one as well, because again, it the people in the family, you'll know, I don't need to tell you this, but you're given hope every now and again. I haven't had a drink for 3 weeks, and then there'll be like a week on the piss, and it's like, you got to stop. Oh, I have, it's just a little slip up. I'm doing my best, and because you love them, you trust them. Heartbreaking. I'm really sorry to hear that, man. And as you know, I'm not going to patronise you, but completely unnecessary. Yeah, Ian, I've had people literally snort cocaine, have a pipe, and I was booting at the time, chasing the dragon. And after he's had his coke, and then after he's had his crack, which is coke, he's gone to me. He's gone, "You're going to kill yourself on that shit." He's dead. No, he wasn't wrong, but cocaine at 50, 60, 70, what is it now, 80, 90? Oh, it's been so long since I bought it. I couldn't believe it when someone told me it was like 90 quid a gram for the decent stuff nowadays. And there is no decent stuff. It's all cut with levacimol, which is an animal wormer, at source. And that, I can promise you that. Because everyone used to get me to wash it up to check the purity of it, and it never used to be cut at source in Peru, Bolivia, Venezuela, and the likes. They never used to cut at source. That was all done in England, but now it's cut at source. I'd be getting this stuff, and I'd try and wash it up, and I'd try and stretch it, and I go, no, there's something wrong. This ain't right. This isn't working. And people are paying 80 quid for that, and that value makes people think that they're not in the gutter. There you go, Snoopy. That's usually what it is. People are usually running. And yes, James. Yeah, I think it was Mrs. Me in it who had the technical difficulties, but it was funny. He does do it though, doesn't he? He does do it. It's a man saying, "Is someone going to sort this shit out, and are they going to do it quick?" Not a problem, Ian. It was a pleasure to hear, mate. There you go, Daffy. Yeah, 2-3%, and not 20 pints. John says the English embarrass me in Budapest when I see them out. They've got, it's all right, mate. I understood what you meant by, well, you've somewhat corrected the spelling. I never changed, John. I love it. Yeah, it's and it's a thing. It's a thing we laugh at. It's something. Mark says, to be honest, if I like it, I'm going to keep doing it. When I was younger, now not so much. Yeah, and that's fine. But have you got responsibilities? Have you got work? Are you driving? Have you got a family? What sacrifices are you making because of that? I mean, I always said I never wanted children, but I was always out of my head on drugs, and so I never wanted children. I fucking wish I had. I wish I had. I don't regret not having them because that's a waste of time. But, I was sold a dummy in the 80s. I was sold a dummy. Michael Garland said, I knew a lass that could neck 3 bottles of vodka and still appear lucid. Passed away in her 30s. Yeah, this, wet brain. You get this thing called wet brain and it doesn't, booze stops working. But then they can't medicate you because the same reason the booze stops working, the medication doesn't work. So you just scream until you die. I've told the story many times at a rehab centre. The geezer took us out, walked us to the wet brain ward, stood us outside at midnight, this old fucking Victorian building, and all we could hear was, "Oh, oh, oh." And it was, I was there rattling my fucking fillings loose. I was like, do we have to do this? What fucking horror story is this? And he said, they've got wet brain. He said, the alcohol over the years has dissolved the receptors in their brain, and so they cannot receive alcohol anymore. And they've now got very severe brain problems. But they can't treat them. They can't give them painkillers because the same receptors aren't working. So they literally just scream till they die. And that can be 5-10 years. A living hell. So it's pints, is it? The old party 7? The wine box. The funny thing about the wine box is it's actually a bag, isn't it? There's a bag in the box. I can remember a bloke. He took it out of the box and he just sellotaped it to the table, and it was horrible. It looked like a lung with a tap on it. What's the name had a problem minding P's and Q's? Oh, you really? It's no longer party 7. It's 7 lines. Good Lord, there's nothing worse than cocaine to ruin a party. I'm so behind the writing. You're now talking about the people on the cover of the. Marzipan says sexualizing a cartoon. It'll be dogs next. Well, we actually did a confession in here. People who'd admitted being aroused to cartoons, and a lot of us had them, and that's why they do it. What's the classic one? Jessica Rabbit. The party 7 did look like a German porn scene. Yes, pre-action. They just needed to get a bit more of that party 7 down them. I was listening. Funnily enough, who was it? Oh, I was watching Steve O, and he was talking about how the Jackass lot screwed him, and how Johnny Knoxville and Bam McGregor were taking all the money. Predictably, that was going to happen in the early days anyway. And he was talking to one of the other sort of sideline blokes in Jackass. I don't actually know what his name was. Quite a big lad, old sort of, mid-40s, fat. And he said, I'm sure it was him. Yeah, he had a job as a chauffeur. And he said he used to pick up porn models from the airport and drive them to the studios. And he said on the Thursday night, he'd pick them up, and they'd all get in the back of this limo, because the porn production house wanted them to think they were living the high life, porn for a woman too. And they'd all be there with their earpieces in and all their makeup and their fake tits all pushed up, and because they knew there'd be other models there, so they didn't want to turn up in their jumper and jeans, and they'd all be in the back of this limo, and there'd be champagne, and they'd be like, oh, we've got 3 days work, and then they'd drop them at the studio. And of course, when you're being paid by the hour, the porn company get their money's worth. You are working from when you arrive at that studio on Thursday night through to the last, 10 minutes before midnight Sunday. It's like Cinder fucking Rella. And he said then he had to pick them up midnight Sunday. And he said, what a different, there'd be the same 5 birds now in their long coats, long trousers, no makeup, hair up in a bun. And he said it was just silent. And he said it was just shame as they drove back to the airport, realizing what their lives had become and the weekend work they'd just been through. What a horrible story that is. Ian, I know people who do it. I know for anyone who's smoked crack, that's bizarre. But I had a mate who was a very, very wealthy accountant, still a mate. He's writing now. He's going to have a book on Amazon before me. It's unbelievable. He would come. He was working in Hong Kong, actually. He lived in Hong Kong for 18 years. He could speak fluent Cantonese. It was incredible because he wasn't the cleverest bloke. Well, he is actually in a weird way. Actually, he's very bright. That's a nasty thing to say. He just speaks like Boise. Hello, danger. Everything going well, I take it. Goes and sees my mother as well when he's in Dartford. He's a lovely bloke. When I was proper homeless and in trouble, I could ring him up and go, mate, please do me 300 quid. I'm going to get my hands chopped off. And he goes, I can't keep doing this, Chrissy boy, but I'll do it this last time. And then again and again and again. Anyway, he'd come to England. He'd come down to Totnes when I was living there. And I'd go sort out some crack vouchers and do some smack vouchers. And they'd give me like 500 quid and go and get what you want. So I'd come back with like, I don't know, 20 rocks and 20 bags of brown. They'd have a little boot of the brown, puke up a few times, smoke a couple of rocks. And then they'd be like, no, I'm all right now. That's me done, really. I mean, that is unheard of. Once you've started and it's in front of you, I've never known anyone to just say, no, I'm all right now. What? I'll be like, oh, all right then. And wish I was him. Chatham also was born in Chatham. Well, yeah, in fairness, Dartford's not much better, is it? Well, as I just said, Pizzle, I know it's a weird one, but it does happen. Yeah, awful. It's proper actual hallucinations, not like acid ones, spiders crawling out the wall and all that lot. No, I've never had it, but I've been in a room with a bloke in rehabs, watching them go through it and thinking, yeah, but you pay the price, don't you? And alcohol withdrawals like 7 to 10 days, and then you're out of it. The other, the benzos and the opiates, you're looking at 6-7 weeks. I don't know what I'd take given the choice. John says, I lost all my friends from being a filthy, degenerate, nasty drunk. Wow. What, you just got shit-faced all the time and was an arsehole? Wow, that's incredible. What a terrible shame. Hello, Barry. Nice to see you. Oh, Lord, Daffy got operated on while going through delirium tremens. Hello, Dom. Fuck you, Dangerfield. Nice to see you, Dom. Dom's a real original. Been here since the beginning of the channel. How dare you stream when I could interact? But daughter is very sick, so daddy duties. Yeah, you do that. But nice to see you, Dom. I hope you're well, mate. Have you had them rags? You've had an alcohol addiction. Good Lord. Yes, Dom, that would be nice. It's all right. It balances itself out. Well, that's what happens to me, Mr. Giles. I mean, I do enjoy a gin, but one or two, and then I'm like, I've had enough. I've had enough. Chris, was it your story about the Howard's Way actor, drunk alcoholic in the Gentleman's Club and it kicked off? Yes. I'll give you the very short version because it's his. Oh, I can't say actually, but sorry, I nearly went somewhere I'm not allowed to. But yeah, that was my good friend who died. Alcohol. Yeah, we were in Jerry's, and the bloke was an hard case, my mate, and I used to have a no violence rule with him. I said, if I take you to Soho, it's not Dartford. You just take it easy. If anyone says anything that you don't like, we just walk away, all right? And he was like, yeah, no problem. And we were sitting in Jerry's Members Club, me, him, and just chatting to the barman who I knew. I was at art school with him. Weirdly, they followed me around the country and leached off of my life. And Glyn was the character's name. I can't remember what the actor's name is. He was a little one ago. He used to go, Jan, we're going to need a boat. I've got to get the boatyard sorted. Glyn Edwards. That might be his real name. I can't remember his name. I think it might have been Jack in the Howard's Way. Anyway, he was over the other side of the bar, white linen suit. And as me and my mate and the barman were just chatting, he's gone, probably fucking gay. And I just thought, please don't. Please don't. And I just sort of went, anyway, so what are we going to do later? Should we pop up the French house or something? And then he was like, just wankers. This Howard's Way, babe, just wankers. And it was all like this. And in the end, I thought, you know what? Actually, fuck you. I don't know why I'm having to keep my mate restrained when you're being an arsehole. And then he said something that just tipped my mate over. And my mate went, all right, that's it. And clearly he'd obviously been hearing what I was trying to distract him from. Picked up my Guinness. And he went over to him and he just washed him down, the whole pint. This white linen suit, the geezer was dripping in it. He went, I'm calling the police. That's assault. And my mate went, poof. He went, nah, that's assault. And I went, right, we're off. We're going. And just walked out and went somewhere else and nearly got into another fight. He was actually great uptown, I have to say. He was. It was only that one incident. Yeah. It's a weird old line, isn't it? Why have you got 5 pairs of pants on you? Because I shit myself. Okay. I didn't know what to say. I was like, right. That was it. Sartre. Yeah, he was married to Simone de Beauvoir, and Nelson Algren had a relationship with an affair. And yes, it was Sinatra who plays Frankie Machine, Frankie Machinek, in the novel, in the film, the Hollywood studio production of The Man with the Golden Arm. But don't watch the movie, read the book. Read the book, then watch the movie. And when you get to the end, go, hey, what? What? John's doing the housework. Good for you. Good lad. Snoopy enjoys a good whiskey maybe twice a year, but hasn't been drunk in 10 plus years. Shit gives me an headache these days. Yeah. Some booze, I stick to clear spirits, because if I have a whiskey, 2 whiskeys, I get an headache. I think it's the colouring in those dark spirits that is quite toxic stuff. But also, a hangover at my age, that's a 3 or 4 day affair. And as we've said before in here, it's an existential breakdown. It's not just, I feel rough. It's like, my life is nothing. Finlay says, does Chris not read this chat? I've been reading it, but I've also been talking, so I have to, it's a balancing act. But because because the chat is active, it takes me a while to catch up. But I absolutely do read the chat. There you go. He runs about 30 minutes behind. Is it 30? Is it Shrove Tuesday? Please tell me it is. That would be wonderful. Any excuse for some crepes. I lived on them when I was living upstairs. Damn things put about 9 kilos on me. Colonel Custard said they changed the end of Captain Corelli's mandolin as well. Oh yeah, I mean well, so if you do, I really do advise you, if you like a good book, it's a junk book. Like, it's about a junkie, but it's not really. It doesn't feature too much. It's more about just hard lives, but and also men's relationships with themselves and other men. Not sexual. It's a good book, but like I said, I'm not going to give anything away. But it's like changing the way Hollywood changed the ending is like having Jaws win and eat all the, Chief Brody, Dreyfus, and swimming off, going, "Hey!" It was that much of a change. Raymond says that Julius Caesar in Classicus Britannicus described the British cell as short, stocky men covered in tattoos who drank an intoxicating brew made from barley. he must have gone up north. No, it was Sartre. It was Sartre. Pax Max has a little drink every weekend, only one evening, under strict limits. Nah, that's all right, isn't it? But that's the book, and that's the author. It's a cracking novel. It's a cracking novel. Really, really well written. Beautiful song. Beautiful book. Hello, La. S. Giles says a bottle of decent Polish vodka is still less than a 5-bit in Bulgaria. And what is a decent Polish vodka in Bulgaria? Because the only decent Polish vodkas you get in London is Stoli. Is that considered a decent one down there, or is that just have they just marketed that to the English? If you want a decent vodka, it's Stolnica, is it? Stoli, they call it. Pax Max says hardest week of work was in Kyrgyzstan. Every evening, a bottle of vodka was shared between two people. The table water, basically. Fucking hell. Well, is this an urban myth? But doesn't vodka in Russian mean water? I don't know if that's an urban myth. Let's have a look. Google Translate, but that's going to be weird because it's going to be in. I can't write in Russian. Hang on. What does vodka mean in Russian? Water. Yeah, apparently it says while the name vodka is a diminutive of the Russian voda, water, the origins of the liquor are a matter of debate. So there is some etymology there, but it would appear not to be as clear cut. The name vodka is a diminutive form of the Slavic word voda, water, interpreted as little water. So yeah, there's something in it, but it's unsurprisingly not as clear cut as it would appear that the alcohol conversation isn't. I've had one donation in an hour and 15. It is Tuesday, though, I suppose. It's not 14 spastics now. No, it's just 7, but a little bit more detail. But Remy, trust me, when you get to the last one, Remy, I couldn't believe I forgot it. Well, I didn't forget it, but I couldn't recall it. And while I was just there thinking, come on, man, you can't just say I nearly did I done 6 when I was rushing it, just dubbing it in. And I got to the 7th one and I was nearly going to write, I haven't got 7 spastic stories. It was just a better name than 6, so it's over. But then I just remembered, I thought that's a bit of a cop out. And then I remembered Remy. Oh, you wait till you hear the story about Remy. Really unpleasant, but hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. That's good to know. I've completely missed it. What a terrible, terrible shame. That's bad news, actually. So there was a good stream last night that it would appear I missed with Yiz, No White Guilt and Pizzle. That's interesting. Was that on Yiz's? Hello, Grim. Grim says my neighbour sounds like a jingling hell. A jingling hell. Every once in a while, emptying glass bottles into the bin. Good Lord. Zen says the fluoride in toothpaste kills your thyroid gland. I have heard that fluoride's not great. I've never actually looked into the science of it. Colonel Custard says my old neighbours were an alcoholic couple. Oof. Oh, they're the worst, aren't they? When they just swimming in each other's. I don't want to. No. Once a week, 4 carrier bags full of empty vodka bottles in the recycling bin. It's quite amazing that they get it together to recycle them, though. Excuse me. Most delightful, of course. Rags has got Emma G and 42 on his stream on Sunday. Oh, while we're on that subject, there's a scrub. He's not active in the chat. Are you here today, Angry Warhawk? Pop your head in and I'll shield your stream. Barry Hardlin says, drinking and drugs have always been and always will be, but it doesn't have to be a part of lives anymore. Well, that's what you'd think, but the marketing and the acceptance is so powerful. You know, just the like I said, the amount of nationalist streams I've watched where they're all having a good laugh about the amount they drunk the night before. I remember I said to one of them once, I said, "So you're a drinker?" And he went, "Ha ha." He went, "If you don't know that, you don't watch our streams very often," which was a bit embarrassing because he was right. But I just thought that's peculiar, you know, that you're saving the West with your proud alcoholism. Maybe. That's very interesting, John. Wine is part of French culture, but you don't see them on holidays off their faces every summer, rolling in the streets every weekend. No, they know how to drink. Yeah, that is very interesting. I mean, anyone who would suggest that England, you know, Britain hasn't got a booze problem is not looking. You know, they've been asleep. And the other funny thing about drinkers is if you go out drinking with them, you need to drink as much as them, or they get all shitty with you. It's awful. My friend Trevor Locke has got a friend who's a daughter of a very famous rock musician who you all will know. And she'll ring him up and sort of say, "Do you want to come out?" And he'll say, "Yeah, all right." And she's like, "Yeah, but you've got to drink 5 cocktails." And they'll be like, "No, I don't want to drink." And she says, "No. Unless you agree to drink at least 5 cocktails, I'm not coming out." See you later, Mr. Sump. You know, and also I think it's been mentioned in the chat a while back. Don't see many Muslims drinking. They must just think, what the fuck are these people like? I heard you mention that on the on the stream actually, and it's a weird one, isn't it? That's another. It's funny how the whole thing around drugs is just so wrong. Everything is they've got it all wrong. Alcohol is pushed like nobody's business. I know it's a cliche, but if it was invented today, it would be on the front cover of every mainstream and every broadsheet, every website. New drug, this clear liquid. Oh, look what it does to people, and they'd get someone to drink a bit of it, and they'd be going, "No, do you want to fuck us?" Oh! Girlfriend's on the blower. Hello, my love. Oh.
You finish video?
No, I'm still doing it, but as soon as you come home, we stop and then we cook. When you
I think you come take me.
10 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Well, where do I go?
Market.
What, up the side road near 136?
Yeah.
Where I drop you when I take you to the market, where all the fruit is.
Yeah.
All right, give me 10, 15 minutes, yeah?
Okay.
All right, darling. Bye. Yeah, I love you too. My services are required, and she's better looking than all of you put together. Because I can't see any of you. Maybe she's not. My boy Tom, it's over. I've done an hour and a half. I've got some work to do. I've got to cook. I've got to eat. Yeah, I fucked up my first love as well. What a thing. I think a lot of us probably done that one, but that's just the way it goes. Colonel Custer says, note to self, don't eat a Snickers while listening to Dangerfield. Hello, Howard. Nice to see you. Why don't you buy boxer shorts from Ukraine? Because Chernobyl fallout. Go on, son. John is telling you how to administer an enema at home. I'm not reading that out. I mean, Nah, I disagree, Mark. I'll take a junkie over an alcoholic friend any day of the week. As long as he could afford it. If he couldn't afford it, he can fuck off. But no. I don't want that pisshead anywhere near me. But that's all right. Horses for courses, different blokes for different jokes. Well, I think that's probably my worst grift ever, but I think it was a very important stream because I think if we don't start talking about the damage that alcohol has done to our people, the extent of it, the way it has got so deep into our culture, it will carry on destroying us. Right, before I go, I want you to check out this channel. He's a scrub. Angry Warhawk. He's only got 98 subs. I'll put the link in the chat and I'll read you out some of his video titles. So the Battle of Mariupol, Cornwall and the Donbass, why Russia invaded Ukraine, Russia is not the USSR, Reflections of 1939, why the West hates Russia, the real message behind the Tinder swindler, the nature of government, why do people trust government. Interesting channel. The link is in the chat. You know the score with Scrub's video channels. Go and give him a sub. There's mine, Bosch. And if you don't like it, you can always unsub. But, it's nice to help these people out because if they get a few more subs, it's the old social proof, isn't it? Paul Barnett knew a heroin user who insisted on tidying up the living room first. He done a good job. That's usually speed freaks in my experience, but yeah. Absolutely, Snoopy. You've got to confront the problems and not run from them. I'd rather have a friend who had nothing. Me too, Colonel. Good work. get him a few more, and then he'll get a few more, and then he'll make more videos. And you know, we need to be supporting these channels that put out the kind of messages that that we need putting out. DB Jiden says, I didn't realise loads of my mates were meth heads until after a few months. Very easy to keep that under wraps. It's very easy to keep it under wraps for a few months. And then when the teeth start falling out and they start looking like a skeleton, you're like, are you all right? Because you look like your own dead father. There's the girlfriend. I've got to make it look like I'm doing something. Hello. Yeah, I'm just getting dressed. I'll be there in a minute. I'll be about 10 minutes. Bye, bye. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. Right, people, here we go. A little bit of your friend and mine. I'll put that link in the chat again. Give him a sub. He's a nice bloke and he's one of us. And thank you, John. Here's a bit of Alex Jones. There's still a couple of minutes to throw some filthy lucre at the stream. No worries if not, though. Right, hang on a minute. Stop that before that kicks off. It's been an absolute pleasure. Depending on what I'm doing tonight, I might stream again, but if I don't, it'll be tomorrow. Another. It was good work, wasn't it, Ian? Yeah, I'm just getting dressed. Yes. Hello, Mr. Salmon. Nice one. That's very kind of you. Yeah. We all know him. Take care, people. Here's Alex Jones. I hope you enjoy it.
The company store, the paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murder scum. They're on giant death factories keeping babies alive. You're selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we want to eat babies.
Nice one,
I have
Raymond.
them on video.
You've held it together today, mate.
Hillary's in the creepy, weird, sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy, weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. What the hell? That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells.
There's no
man.
messages on the screen because I'm getting
Told her
dressed.
and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur.
Although I will say, hello, Suffice. All right, Suff.
Literal vampire pot and the goblins are hobbling round coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap. We don't even notice and itself rising up against us. Millions of pointed people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
So was I. It's bizarre how that works out. See you later, people. Take care. All right.